Welcome, everybody, to episode 16 of the Hendriks Experience podcast. Back with us today, Tyler Hibbs. Welcome, Tyler.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
And as you may know from previous podcasts, Tyler is our mortgage agent working out of the Hendriks Business Center, downtown St. Catharines, 145 King Street.
That's right.
And you've been a fantastic addition over the past number of months to our team, so thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
It is so nice when our clients can come in, we meet with them, they meet with you, they meet with Andre, the lawyer. Like, how awesome is that experience that we can help create for our clients? I love it.
Absolutely.
And now, when they get to the stage of coming in with you, normally they're fairly qualified. Fairly qualified.
Loosely fairly, yeah.
Loosely qualified.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, I call them the gold clients. They're freaking gold. Like, I ask them a few questions, right? You know, what do you earn? How's your credit cards? What's your debt? And you're like, oh my God, golden client. You must enjoy some of those sometimes.
Yeah, they're far. We don't see them too often.
You don't see them often?
We don't see them too often.
Do you see them a lot less now that interest rates have risen so much?
Absolutely.
It's a lot tougher out there.
Absolutely. Interest rates have gone up 250% and no one's income has gone up that much. So there's obviously a huge disconnect. So we see them, less and less.
Yeah.
Especially now with rates being high.
Yeah. So what I've seen over the past year is stress level of people is just rising to levels that I have never seen before in real estate. Right?
Same thing on my side as well.
You're getting that.
Absolutely.
You're feeling that.
Yep.
And sometimes it goes beyond stress and it turns into anger, I would say. And I kind of half laugh, but it's real. Sometimes the anger, especially on social media. So let's just call it real here, what it really is. So usually the people's, the comments, we put it, someone has a nice house, we put it out on social there, and you see it. What do you see on those comments?
There's a disconnect where people think that what market value is and what something is worth, right? And, one of your listings I saw the other day go up on Facebook, right? 789 North End St. Catharines or somewhere in St. Catharines. And, typically, most of the comments, just some feedback, some positive feedback, but, 66%, or half is negative comments. This house isn't worth that. It's worth $300,000. It's worth $500,000.
There's a negative comment saying, well, maybe not 780 or 790, but maybe it's worth 750. But when you get people commenting and they're saying, oh, that house isn't worth any more than $300,000. Like, what the hell is that? Like, where does that come from? Right? I think it comes from anger, frustration. People are not able to qualify for a home like they used to before.
Absolutely. One big disconnect that I see that all the time on my side of the coin is that, like, listen, I've been renting for 15 years. I've never had a missed payment, right? So how come I can't qualify?
Right.
Right. Like, the lender's not going to, your landlord isn't going to do the same diligence as a bank would do, right? They're going to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're going to make sure that you can pay them back. That's a big disconnect I see on my side. Mm-hmm. Right. Do you see something similar on your side in terms of like the qualifications? Maybe not so the qualification part, but like what a house should be worth if compared to maybe their job or maybe area?
Yeah, well, what I see is COVID changed everything. When the market changed, and I know we talk about this a lot, back in March of 2020, the market went down for about 30, 60 days. And then I had the moment somebody said, I'm going to wait till next month because homes are going to be half price. Are you freaking kidding me? No home value is going to drop in half in Canada or pretty much anywhere in the world in a month's time, even if it's COVID, right? It's just not going to happen. I put out a video. I'm like, folks, this is how it really is. We're going to get stuck in our houses for the next few months. We're going to start bursting at the seams. People are going to be sick and tired of they're going to get stir crazy. They're going to want to change their lifestyle, and the market's going to come back with a roar. And what happened?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened.
Jerry, you were right. That's exactly what happened.
I was right. I'm not right too often. I never hear that at home. Heather never tells me I'm right. Almost freaking never.
I get it the same, buddy.
You don't get it. You're right that too often either, right?
Yeah.
So I guess I said one thing correctly into the future. So that's okay. But the market went crazy. So we started that anger, resentment, and the skyrocketing of prices. It's like this cauldron just bubbling up of people's emotions, right? People express themselves through emotions, how they're feeling. And they were feeling like, I'm getting screwed out of the market. I've been renting, I've been trying to save, and now I'm screwed because I can't keep up with the market. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. House pricing skyrocket. You have massive competition. You have interest rates super, super low, like all-time low. So you have investors pushing out first-time home buyers. So yeah, absolutely. The boiling point was at its top. You have first-time home buyers like losing sight of, their pre-qualification. Your pre-qualification was 450. What does that get you at that time?
Right. Getting you less and less by the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so what also happens is, and we're always telling people, buy when you qualify, the moment you can qualify. But if you're in that spot where you didn't purchase when you could have 6 months before, unfortunately, human nature takes over and you say, that shoulda, woulda, coulda. I could have bought a house 6 months ago.
Right.
I could have bought a house a year ago. Well, unfortunately, if you did work with a team and you bought a house, fantastic. But everybody who didn't, unfortunately, missed out. And the anger comes out, and they lash out at us.
Yeah.
Maybe not you. You're the mortgage agent, so they're not really bothered by you so much.
I still have to deliver the bad news, but yes, people want their dream home, right? And they see that getting further and further out of their sights, right? And who are they going to take to? They should be taking up much higher up the ladder, but it usually comes down to the day-to-day people like myself and yourself. Right?
Yes, they see the prices and they think somehow that we just keep raising the prices. The seller chooses what they want to offer for the home. I've never met a seller who I've said, a home similar to yours, 3 of them just sold last week for $800. So they're like, no, that's okay. We're happy with $400. It just doesn't happen. But people think that they should just get the house for less, right?
Yeah, they do. But like you said, it's that's exactly what the market is. It determines if someone's willing to buy something for a certain price, that's the worth of it. So
that's the market. Yes, what someone is willing to sell for is a willing seller and a willing buyer. And yes, what happened is you had this trifecta happen where you had the local people buying houses, you had the people moving from the GTA, and you had the investors. So when you bring those 3 together,
right.
Wow, that's a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely.
From a buyer standpoint. And you made a really good point, Tyler, when you said about the buyers, they come in and they were qualified for 500. Well, 3 weeks later, they're got to qualify for 550, 600. It just keeps getting farther and farther away, a home that they thought they could move into.
For sure.
Gosh, at the one hand, I honestly feel 2 different ways about this. I try to be empathetic to that stress level. And at the same time, come on, people, it's not all our fault.
Right.
Everyone, when something happens like that, you lash out. It's the market's fault. It's the immigration's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the interest rate's fault. Nobody, and even myself, right? I'm impacted personally about interest rates rising. I had mortgages that I took out a number of years ago. They came out for renewal in the past year. My interest rates double. My mortgage payment doubled. Freak, I'm frustrated myself, right? So it is tough. I empathize with that. But, at the same time we need to take personal ownership and responsibility for our choices in life and what we can do. And sometimes when rates are high right now, so it was that impetus of the low rates causing prices to rise, and then prices came down. There was opportunities for buyers to buy at a lower price point.
Yep.
Prices fell. They topped out in March 2022. Okay, I don't know if you remember that. Prices fell 15 to 25%. That was new opportunity for people to get in the market.
Absolutely, especially first-time home buyers.
And I'm guessing you were doing mortgages every day, every month. You're still doing mortgages.
Yep.
People are still buying houses.
Yep.
It's the ones that are taking your awesome advice and structuring the deal and looking at the deal and how can you make it happen
right.
to get into home ownership.
Absolutely.
Correct?
Really it's just staying away from the timing of the market. We've seen ups, we've seen downs, we've seen everything, right? And
that's no different than the stock market, right?
Absolutely. And it frustrates different people. Like we're talking about buyers, but it's like, okay, now we've said interest rates increase. So now obviously that impacts the homes have obviously decreased in pricing, but in terms of sellers, are you not seeing stuff is still sitting for 70, 80 days and stuff is not dropping? There's some sellers that still believe that the house is worth COVID times.
Yes. The challenge is when sellers are living in the past, just like buyers when they're online social media, this week they said, oh, well, I bought my house for $220,000 when I moved to Canada. Well, yeah, it was back around the average sale price in St. Catharines for specifically when I got my real estate license, 1988, was approximately $114,000 for a north end 3-bedroom brick bungalow with single car garage. Average sale price $114,000. So jumping up, the house prices fell through most of the 90s. They flattened out in 96, 97, started coming around. So in the 2000s, somewhere in there, in the early 2000s, yes, that bungalow was $200,000, but that's over.
Right.
It's gone, and it's not coming back.
No.
So if you're stuck there, you're going to have a challenge for the rest of your life if you're living in that past. So we need to look at today. What can we do to help ourselves get into homeownership if we've never been there before?
Even like to take a step further than that, like, okay, so people are deflated because it's obviously they hear about their parents buying houses and they've bought it for, North End bungalow for $114,000. Okay, well then I'll rent. Well, rent's like no better, right? I sit with someone recently, they pay $2,500 a month, okay, over 5 years, right? Like you're throwing away thousands of dollars. You're paying $30,000 over 1 year. So, you compound that by 5 years, you're paying $150,000 in rent, right? So it does, like, either way, I feel bad for people because you're really stuck between a rock and a hard place. You can't buy, and obviously now it's put pressure in the rent market, which is obviously increased that. What do you do?
Yeah.
Right. I can feel the frustration with people for sure. I mean, all I can just basically say is just sit with, even if it's a year or 2 years down the road. Like when I meet with people, it's never no. It's just not right now. Like
just not right now. That's a great way of putting it.
What can we do to like increase your purchasing power? If it's, is it credit? Is it down payment? Is it affordability? Those are the 3 hot topics, right? So if it's, you just get a game plan and stick to it. That at least gives you hope to one day own a home.
Absolutely. As they say, we live in the world of instant gratification.
Yeah, and social media is ruined.
You know what? I'll tell you, those freaking HGTV shows, which I love and I watched all of them. I don't watch them so much anymore. But back, 5 years ago, when they were the hottest thing since sliced bread.
Oh yeah.
Everybody when I started real estate, we used to, first time home buyer would buy a house. It needed some elbow grease. You had to put like some blood, sweat, and tears into the house. Now they want it looking like the perfect home on HGTV.
They want their mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad have been like working for 25, 30 years, and they want a nice car. They want a nice house. They want 2 nice cars in their driveway. And I'm like, that is not reality.
Yes.
You have to realize that, like, listen, this took your parents 50 years to get.
Yes.
You're not going to get that overnight, right?
Yeah. So I think from my own emotions and such, and, I like to empathize with the people who are really challenged, and I get that, and help them to come up with solutions. And then we have all those other haters and the super angry people. You know what? Honestly, I'm never going to be able to some of those people. I'm never going to be able to satisfy them, no matter what I do to help people. Right? I've been helping people for 35 years in real estate, buy and sell homes, helping tons of first-time home buyers. We can only help the people who really actually genuinely want help. And there's always going to be those haters out there. We just can't help them, And so maybe I got some anger too towards it, and I got to let that go.
I can feel it.
You can feel it
over here.
Yes, we got to let that go. The fact of the matter is, some people, unfortunately, will be renters for life, and it is how it is. But we got to focus our time and energy on the people that hire us. Sellers hire us to sell their home, to get top dollar for their home so they can move on to where they want to be. They are either buying another house, maybe they're upsizing, maybe they're downsizing, maybe they're moving into a rental. Maybe that house, that equity in that house is going to fund their retirement so they can live in a decent home and get the care they need. Some need extra support care. So we need to do our job as realtors to help them and support them. Then the other side, we have those awesome buyers who come to us and say, hey, we need some help. We really want to own a home. Is it going to happen today? Well, you're going to tell them it's going to happen today or it's not going to happen today, right?
Right, for sure. But at least we put a plan in place.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is about, like, you're saying the haters, the people that have like a negative attitude about it. How much does it cost to someone to come see you?
Zero.
Okay.
Free.
How about me?
Free.
Like, my services are free. They can find you on this podcast, and they can take you out, and you can, you can refer, been in the business for however long, everyone in Niagara. So they need something specific. You probably know a guy. And
We know
same
a
thing
guy
with- yeah.
on my guy list on my
There you
phone,
go.
and it
You
could
got
be
a
a
guy
girl
list.
list,
Yeah, it
but
could
you
be
know,
a
I just
guy
call
list,
the guy
girls,
list.
they
They could
know
be male,
someone.
female, whatever. But
They know someone, but it's the same with me. Someone
Yeah.
comes to see me. My services are completely free.
Yeah.
Right. And it's, you know, I go to a mechanic, I bring my car off. There's, you know, I don't get that same. I'm getting a bill.
your
I'm
bill
getting a
right
for
off,
that.
right in the first 5 minutes.
So absolutely.
In most cases.
Yeah, in most cases. I mean, most people just have to utilize the service, and that's what we love doing. You got into real estate because you like to help people, right?
Yes.
I'm the same. I got mortgages because I want to help people, right? So
yeah, and it's the people that want to be helped. That's where the joy in this business comes
Absolutely,
from, right?
absolutely.
And we do have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun,
absolutely.
and then we like to also get it done,
Right.
Right. So coming up to that plan, that was a perfect word, just plan. So what are we going to do? You know, you're again, we talk a lot. I rehash this a lot. Point A to point B. Where are they at today? What's their situation? What is the situation, and where do they want to be, and how can we help them get to that point? And you said it very well. It's the down payment. They may not have the down payment. So yeah, you can save. And I know what everybody's going to say. They're going to say, well, it's going to take me forever to save up for a down payment for this house. Well, a $500,000 house, you got to break it down, right? 5% down is $25,000. So how long is it going to take you to save $25,000? Geez, unfortunately, it could take you 20, 30 years, right? It's going to be a tough situation.
Right.
Some people with a decent, solid income, two people together, whether that's a couple, like in a relationship, or it could be just two single people
Yeah.
wanting to buy a house together.
Someone you work with.
Do-
someone you work with. It
a
doesn't-
friend, someone
yeah.
you work with.
Someone similar position as you.
Do a buy-share agreement, right? Have an in-out, like a buy-sell agreement within that. There's parameters that you can put in place to make that happen so you can get in home ownership. Start building equity, start building wealth for your future, right?
Yeah, if you talk to someone like the smartest wealth advisors, and you know they do like high-end trades and marginal trading and all this other stuff, they will tell you the key to investment is starting early. So just start today. So if you have to, like, yeah, sure, the $25,000 for a $500,000 house is the 5% down. That $25,000 target is further and further as if you keep pushing that start date, right? Start today. Start saving today.
Yes.
Sit with your wealth advisor, see if you can get a pack going. So every single pay yourself. That is a crazy term that no one uses. When I used to do like wealth management and mortgages, when I used to work at the local financial institution, you know, we were started saving for a down payment. I asked them, like, what do you pay yourselves a month? Well, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, you pay for your car, you pay for your rent, you pay for your insurance. Like, what do you pay yourself? Like, what do you put in terms of savings, right?
Yeah. Pay yourself first, too.
Pay yourself first, yeah.
Sock that money away. I don't, $10, $100, $1,000, it doesn't really matter. The whole point that they'll tell you is do something, take an action towards it. And unfortunately, the people that haven't, that are now 30, 40 years old, that haven't done that in the past, you're young, you're 20, 25 years old, you got a job. Learn from the mistakes of others. I do that. I'm a mistake-making machine. I made lots of mistakes in my life.
That's how we learn, though.
Learn from me. And I try to learn, and I watch other people. Learn from other people, and don't do what they did when they're in the same position that you don't want to be in 10, 20 years from now, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's down payment. The other thing is qualifying. So let's touch again on the qualifying part, right? Because that's really important too. And some people have shit credit out there, and you need to turn that credit around. And what can they do to turn that around to get them at a number on their credit score that's going to be good with the bank? Just good. Doesn't have to be fantastic. Doesn't have to be shit, but it has to be good with the bank.
Yeah, credits us at 900. I would say 680 is a comfortable spot where you should.
680.
680. Yeah, that's a comfortable spot. You can be lower, but I mean, if you're going to be conservative, 680, right? And again, most people don't. This stuff isn't educated. People don't know what like the 5 things that make up your credit score, right? The amount of times I sit with people and I pull their credit bureau and they're like, "How can my credit be so low? Why is it in the 600s? I've never had a missed payment." Utilization is 32% of your credit score. So that means that like if you have a $10,000 credit card, okay, the limit, and you owe $5,000, okay, and if I have a $1,000 credit card and I owe $800, even though you owe 5 times as much as I do, okay, I'm using up 80% of my utilization. That makes up 34% of your credit score.
Right. You might be better off having 3 credit cards instead of one that's maxed out to the top. Is that correct?
I mean,
and having a smaller amount, 25% utilization on 2 or 3 cards rather than a card that's full. Would that be accurate statement or no?
Yes. Now the only like thing to consider that is the client regimented not going to use it. right? You don't want to give them more access to more credit if they're just going to use it, because now your utilization is still high. And
Yeah.
you just spread it out over. You actually just increase the debt, right? So there's obviously that to think about. But if obviously the client's regimented enough to do that, yes, that's definitely a play. But credit is super simple. Like, I did a deal for someone where I met with them in June. Their credit was awful. Missed payments, collections, utilization high. We worked with them for six months later. They bought a house. So
6 months later, they turned it around in 6 months time.
Because they listened.
Crappy credit,
Yeah.
and you turn it around. So what was their score when they had crap?
558.
558. That's just about at the bottom that you can get, right?
I don't know how I remember. This is 2017, okay? So 2017, this guy had a 558 credit score, and 6 months later, he bought a house.
And what would his credit? What did you get him up to then? To that 680 mark, around there, right?
Yeah, I think he was in the low sevens.
So it is possible. So what did he focus on? Getting the amounts down on his credit cards?
Yeah, obviously pay off the paid collection, right?
Yeah, that would be number one.
Yeah,
That is that's going to be a big part of your credit score.
Absolutely. The frustrating thing, or the downside, obviously, about missed payments is that it will hold on your credit score for about 2 years. Every single month, it will basically release the weight that it has on your credit score. So every single month, it will slowly impact, but that's just time. But utilization and clearing up an unpaid collection got him there.
Awesome. Would you say, there's a couple apps out there like Credit Karma and Borrowell?
Yeah.
Did they give you a sense of your credit score and where you're at? They're not always bang on towards comparing it to TransUnion
Or Equifax, yeah.
and Equifax. How accurate or inaccurate is it between the scores on the systems that the banks use and the ones that the public can use? Are they close in line, or are they kind of off?
Yeah, it depends on 9 times out of 10, it's almost spot on. It's very, very close. It's basically those types of companies. I believe they buy old information from Equifax and TransUnion. So if there's a trade line that someone's had a derogatory, they've had something derogatory on that trade line, it doesn't transfer over to your Credit Karma or whatever other third-party service you're using, there could be a disconnect. But 9 times out of 10, I will ask the client, do you have any idea what your credit score is? And they're like, yeah, I have it on my bank app, or I have Credit Karma. And it's usually accurate.
Yeah. So if there's anyone out there that doesn't have it, just simply go to your phone, go to your app store, and download Credit Karma or Borrowell. Those are the two that I personally use.
Yeah.
Is there any ones that other ones that you use?
I mean, yeah, you can sign up for Equifax.
Sign up directly with Equifax.
Yeah, you can sign up directly for Equifax.
And is there any cost to that? I don't use them, but
I think there is if you want to check it. I think you're allowed to have maybe one free pull a year or something like that. But that's a hard check. But you can always check your credit score, and it gives you the same thing as Credit Karma. It basically will show you what you're at today.
Yeah, let's clear that up for people too, because a lot of people think, okay, every time I check my credit, it's going to have an impact on my credit score. It's going to bring my score down.
Right.
They don't want you checking your credit score all the time, because that means you're out shopping for stuff.
Yeah.
And you're just looking to spend money or borrow money, and something's up, right? If someone's checking the score that much. But the ones that you do on your credit, on those credit apps,
right?
They're soft.
They're soft hits.
Soft hits.
Soft hits.
So they're not going to negatively.
Correct.
So if you're out there and you're worried about that, forget about it. You're okay.
Yeah, if you're just checking, it's a soft hit. But if you're actually going to inquire and do you do someone's doing diligence, you sit down for a credit card or a car or a mortgage, and they're doing diligence, they're probably doing a hard check. That's what impacts your credit, right? That's why. And the reason why is everyone knows that. First off, if you're just doing a mortgage application, and you're not seeing 10 other people, you're not going to TD, then Meridian, then Scotia, and you're getting all these things. And yeah, those are all those are all being hard pulls, right?
Right.
But if you're just going to a mortgage broker who's a one-stop shop, and we represent 100 to 60, 70 different lenders, it impacts you 8 to 10 points, 15 points top. So if it's at a 900, it's a very small amount, right? But in terms of my industry, if I don't pull credit, it's I'm being a mechanic and you want me to diagnose what's wrong with your vehicle and I don't even know what you drive, right? We have to do it.
You got to do it. You want to make that step to homeownership. You got to do that hard check.
For sure.
And see where you're at.
Yeah.
So that's down payment, that's credit score. And if you mentioned, affordability, right? Yes. And that's impacted by what you're looking at, your TDS and your GDS. So
correct.
Real quick, without getting too depth, we could probably do a whole podcast on GDS and TDS.
Basically, it's how much money is coming in versus how much is going out.
Right. And roughly speaking, 32% of your gross income.
39.
30 for TDS?
The 39 for GDS, 44 for TDS.
39 and 44.
Correct.
Right? Back in the day, it used to be a lower number. So that number has changed somewhat over time.
CMHC changed it like actually a couple of years ago, and they moved it back to put them in line with the other two insurers. But yeah, like those are the benchmarks, 39.44. It depends on down payment, but that's the sweet spot.
So real quick on that, 39% of your gross income can go towards mortgage, property taxes, and they put a heating cost factor on that, correct?
And condos.
And
fees that they
condos,
apply.
yes. 50% of your condo fees,
Yeah.
correct?
With most lenders, yeah.
Yeah,
50%.
excellent. And then your TDS also includes student loans or any other type of loans, monthly credit card debt, and so on. Is that
One's
correct?
easy. Yeah. TDS is basically total income versus total debt.
Right.
And that's including the mortgage payment you're trying to apply for, the property taxes for the subject property.
Right. And the bottom line is higher interest rates are going to make that more challenging.
Absolutely. Because your monthly payment is higher on your mortgage payment, which then eats up more of your income, which then increase the GDS and TDS.
So two things got to happen, or a couple things got to happen. You're either going to wait for interest rates to come down. The challenge with that is when rates come down, prices are going up because even more people are coming into the market.
Absolutely.
Or you got to maybe bring down your expectations a little bit and what kind of home that you're expecting. You talked about, I want the big 2,400 square foot, 2-story home, double car garage.
Yeah, that's what my
Bring it down, everybody.
Yeah, the example I say, they want their parents' house.
Yeah.
Right? Which is we all do. We want the nice house. We want the 2 cars, but the nice 2 cars in the parking lot. But
And I tell you, I wish that for everybody. I wish everybody has a home that they love in. You know, I always say, love where you live.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope that's possible for everybody. But, you know, you got to take action steps. The best thing to do, reach out to you. Come up with a plan. Learn from this guy. You're a smart man. So take in the knowledge of a professional realtor, a professional mortgage agent, and we'll help you get where you want to get. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.
thanks.